Guys, it's Katie here with Life Mundane and welcome back to my channel. Today, I'm going to give you our Q1 update and how the past several months have been going in our homeschool. I'm going to update you guys on what's been going on with my high schoolers, what's been going on with my 7th grader, and then what also has been going on with my early elementary 1st and 2nd grade kiddos. So let's get started. So like I mentioned, I have 6 kids and I'm going to divide them into those 3 sections so that you can have an idea of how things are going. I'm not going to go through every single curriculum, but I'm going to give you the highlights of things that are working well, those things that we're having to shift and adjust, and things that we're adding in new. So let's start with my youngest 2. These are my 1st and my 2nd grader, and they do a lot of the same schoolwork. So one of the things that's going incredibly well is all about reading. We switched over from CLE's learning to read and went to going to all about reading, and it's been great. They really needed more practice. They needed to have those kind of opportunities to build their fluency and their vocabulary and strengthen their phonemic awareness skills, and it's been fantastic. I couldn't be more pleased with the progress that they're making. We jumped straight into level 2, and that's been going really well, and it's been exciting to see their progress. I wouldn't be surprised if they end up finishing level 2 and at least starting level 3, if not finishing level 3 also this year, if we keep going at the pace we're going right now. Another thing we started this year that is going well is doing 2 maths with my youngest 2. And what that means is they use teaching textbooks and are absolutely adoring that. It's been great for even the days when we're sick or we're struggling with consistency and things like that to be able to get math in because it teaches it for it, it grades it for them, it tells them how to do it if they get it wrong, all of the things. So we've been utilizing that, and then we've also been using All About Math level 2. Now, I have several of you guys who have asked to see do a lesson with me, and I actually will be having that come out next week, Lord willing. So be sure to subscribe so that you can see what that looks like in our home and what the lessons look like. But they're both very doable to do together, and I find that it's not that they need the other one. They're full curriculums on their own, but I'm starting to see the beauty of having 2 math curriculums and the fact that they emphasize different things or they practice and work on different skills. And so this is actually something I'm becoming like a wholehearted believer in, is doing 2 math curriculums, but it's all about picking the right 2 math curriculums. You can't put 2 heavy math curriculums side by side or you'll completely drown your kid, unless of course they love math. So those are 2 things that are going really well for the younger ones. And with that, the next part of this update, I need to bring in my 7th grader. You see, my 7th grader has some developmental delays and disabilities due to her genetic disorder. And so she isn't really working at a 7th grade level. In most things, she's working closer to that 1st or 2nd grade level. And so we try to have some things separate and some things that we work on all together. So to give you the update with all 3 of them together, other things that are going well is we started the Kids Cook Real Food program. This has been really awesome. My older 3 kids did this years ago, but my daughter didn't have the opportunity to do that. And of course, the younger 2 had not had that opportunity either. It goes through and teaches the kids cooking skills and not just flat out recipes. Yes, of course, they make recipes utilizing these skills, but what I love about it is that it's very tangible and it's helping them to become better in the kitchen. So if they already have some experience, it's teaching them technique. If they have no experience, it's introducing them to beginning concepts as well. My plan initially was to start this at the beginning of the quarter. However, I quickly realized that with having 3 high schoolers and some of the other factors that were going on in our family, we probably should hold off on adding this in. But we decided to wait to start this until September. You see, my friend Wendy over at Plan Prep Pray was expecting her 6th kiddo, and she's here and we love her so much. But she had been doing 1 hour a day of Christian Light Education Language Arts with my younger 2 girls. And she's gonna pick that up and do that again, but of course we're taking a little bit of a maternity leave during this time. So I figured while we're taking this break on a couple of the language arts things that they're working on, we would fill that hole with some more intensive cooking practice since we didn't get to start the Kids Cook Real Food until September. So we've been working on this a couple of days a week. Once the girls go back to Wendy's house and doing language arts, then we will go to probably just doing it once a week to once every 2 weeks. But because they are skill-based, we can continue practicing, day after day if we want to, or we can spread it out even further. They're video-based lessons. It's a purchase one time and have it forever, so you can utilize it with all of your kids. So it's a great deal. I'll leave a link down in the description if you guys want more information about it. And they even have a free knife skills class that I'll link down below as well, that even if you don't purchase their program, you should definitely go check out, and it'll help your kids from all ages and abilities learn something new about cooking with knives. Now, one thing that hasn't gone quite as expected is our handwriting program. So we're using the Script and Scribe curriculum with my younger 3 to introduce cursive for the first time. And I like it a lot. There are a lot of things that I do love about it. It has verbal cues to go along with the visual motions of each letter, which I feel like helps them to remember things better. I like the fact that it's simple. I love the fact that it's printable, so you can easily print off the lessons. You purchase it one time, it's incredibly affordable, and then if they need more practice, you just print out more pages. So I love that about it. It starts with just the beginning strokes, and then it gets more so into the individual letters. What has been a little bit of a challenge with this, and we're still utilizing it, so it's not that we've given up on it, is that the spacing is a little bit small for beginning learning cursive. They all have obviously been writing by hand for a long time, but for cursive in particular, it feels like the spaces are a little bit small. That being said, we're learning to adapt. So one of the ways we've been adapting it is when we introduce a new letter or a new movement, we use the LCD boards from Amazon. I'll link to some of our favorites down below, but we'll utilize that to practice on. So that way there's not the constraints of the size of the line for them to get that practice in. Then we'll move them onto the paper. Now the other aspect is there's quite a bit of repetition here, which is great, but my 7th grader has juvenile arthritis and she fatigues very easily. So what we are finding is we'll practice for a day using the LCD boards. We'll come back the next day and we'll practice maybe like these 3 lines, and then the next day we'll practice the next 3 lines, just trying to kind of break it up a little bit more. I'm not sure if we're gonna stick with it 100%, but I want to keep going for a little while and give it a good, honest try. I think they're just getting used to the format and getting used to the way things go. We have been using the Mighty Movers cards, and these have been really fun. I created these and they're in my Etsy store, but they're different skills that you can use that are working on like occupational therapy or physical therapy type exercises to help with balance, to help with fine motor skills, and other things that can help you become stronger as a writer, and they're absolutely loving that. We go around every day, they each pick one card, we do those activities, and then we put it back, and it lasts maybe like 5 or 10 minutes a day, but it's working on those skills in a fun, exciting way instead of saying, hey, it's time to work on your physical therapy exercises. Of course, they are still loving science. We're using Apology of Science, and they're enjoying the notebook a lot this year. We're also added in a sticker by number book that's bird related. So while they're listening to their the lessons, they'll be doing that. So they really enjoy that. And then of course, history with Biblioplan. Going to my 7th grader exclusively, some of the things that are going really well for her is she's also doing 2 maths. And that's really just kind of hitting the sweet spot for her. So she's utilizing 2 different maths. She is utilizing Math UC for one of her maths, and that's working on mastery and really focusing and honing in on one skill at a time and giving her the repetition that she needs to be able to understand and learn things and get them stored in that long-term memory. But then we're also utilizing Apologia's math with her and really loving that. Now, what's funny is when I first started, a lot of people asked, why would you use Apologia Math and All About Math? Why would you not just combine them all into one? And I could. And part of the reason I don't is so that if they're in different curriculums, there's not that tendency to compare as much, that they're in a similar level of math, because I don't want to cause unnecessary strife. But the other part of it is because both curriculums work to my individual kids' strengths. So for the Apologia Math, they're short, easy lessons. They're really working more so on deductive reasoning skills, which is something that she really struggles with and needs more practice in. So for instance, if I tell you you have a 3-digit number and the digit in the tens column is a 5, and then the digit that is in the ones column and in the hundreds column adds up to 4, what would the other digits be, right? Something like that. So those kinds of things are getting her to think in a different way. So that's perfect for what she needs. It has the hands-on opportunities and activities, but it's not really long, and it's using more hands-on manipulatives, but not in an overwhelming sense. For All About Math, for my younger 2, it's more game-based, and that works great, especially because I'm teaching 2 at one time, and so they can practice a lot back and forth by playing the games together. Okay, another area where we needed some work on that I hadn't quite nailed down what we were going to do, and we're starting something new, is writing with my 7th grader. The thing is that we started utilizing writing and rhetoric from Classical Academic Press for my 10th grader. We are kind of going back and starting at the very beginning because he needed to have those building blocks for those skills. He has severe dyslexia, auditory processing, autism, lots of things going there. And so he just needed a little more one-on-one with this. So he's actually working with a tutor working through this book. So I love this program. I do want to eventually use this program with her. However, I thought it might hurt the ego a little too much if I have a 7th grader start it at the same time as the 10th grader. And so I'm letting her brother go ahead and start, get a couple books ahead, because you go through about a book a semester, and then maybe we'll start her on it next year. So for this year, I needed something to kind of bridge the gap. Her workload is already kind of heavy when you consider all of the medical needs she has, the therapies she's going to, and when you consider all the hospitalizations and tests. So I didn't want to add something that was too heavy, but I did want to give her some writing practice because she loves writing and would love to do that one day. So because of that, I decided to try out Rabbit Trail's new writing membership. So this is a much more relaxed unit study-esque kind of curriculum that goes in, and every month you get a new book that you're going to have sort of a unit study around. It's going to have a little information about the author. Sometimes it'll have things that you can note about the pictures. There's copy work involved. There is a writing assignment that's broken down into sections that you'll do. You can do it over the whole month, a little bit every day. You can do it a couple of times throughout the month. That's kind of how we're probably going to do it, is about once a week. But it's been really good so far. We just started this month, so I'll let you guys know what I think about that. And I'll leave a link down in the description for that so you can check it out as well. Okay, so that's a lot of updates, but now we come to my 3 high schoolers. So I have a 9th grader and 2 10th graders, and overall they're doing a lot of similar work as well. Things are going pretty good, honestly. We have done well with their math. They are only doing 1 math, but they're doing well with their math. They're enjoying science. History is one I wanted to specifically highlight because one of my sons specifically asked not to do Biblioplan this year. He just kind of got burnt out on it, and he felt like it was a lot of text and a little overwhelming for him. There's a lot of graphics on the page, and that was overwhelming. And so he actually chose and asked if he could use Not Grass History, and is doing fantastic with it. It's really working well. It's clean on the page. It's not too much information. It's still written in a story format, and it has hands-on projects. So he's done things like building a model of a colonial town in Minecraft as one of his projects, and writing a PSA or filming, a PSA of why you should not buy tea from England, written from the perspective of early Americans, and talking about like the whole Boston Tea Party and things. So he's got to do some things that have put his creativity to use and his storytelling and those types of things to use, and is not so heavy on the writing assignments and things like Biblioplan can tend to be. Now, at the same time, my other 2 high schoolers chose to stick with Biblioplan. They really like the format. They love the fact that with the lessons, there's sort of note-taking pages that go along with it, and they said that helps them to stay focused and keep on track. Frankly, I think that's what my other son didn't like about the other, but they're both loving that and thriving and doing well with the medieval high school history for Biblioplan. All 3 of them are doing Redefining school classes with Miss Mindy. If you guys don't know about this, I've done some videos on what that curriculum is, and you can check it out down below. They just finished up their first quarter with her. My 2 boys read Uncle Tom's Cabin and had discussions around that and wrote a persuasive paper from that. My daughter just finished reading the Screw Tape Letters with her class and finishing her own persuasive essay. So that's been really fun to get to walk through with them and get to see their writing and their reading and their understanding and comprehension grow. They enjoy those classes a lot because they get to discuss with other people. They get to hear other perspectives and point of views while still being very Christ-centered. My daughter in particular is also doing a writer's guild with Redefining School. It is for those kids who are specifically wanting to be writers, who are more gifted in writing or want to focus on that more. So they get together once a month and share samples of their work. They're breaking down their big projects into bite-sized pieces and even have Q&A sessions with real authors. So she's absolutely loving that piece of her school for sure. For my second son, who's in 10th grade. He is really excited because he has just started the Film School for Teens graphic novel course. I talked about this, I think back in August or September on my channel about how they were coming out with this course. It is just coming out, and so he's not super far into it, but he is really, really excited and motivated to get this course done. He's been brainstorming and thinking through ideas. It's a video-based course that walks you through step-by-step how to make a graphic novel, and by the end of the course, it's just one semester long, by the end of that course, you'll be able to have a published work. So he's really excited about that process and getting started there. So what are some of the struggles that my high schoolers have been having? Well, it's definitely been a juggling act, figuring out the freedom of having driver's licenses. My oldest has his license, my second has his permit, and his sister will be getting her permit next semester. So there's a lot of driving practice that is happening, and with that comes more freedom, but that also comes more responsibility. And so they have been working more outside of the home for different people, family members and friends, and so managing their time has definitely been something that's been a struggle. It's been good because we've taught time management skills for years in our homeschool, but this is where the rubber meets the road, and we need some refreshers. So this next quarter, I really want to work with them on refreshing some of those life skills when it comes to planning our time well, specifically when it comes to assignments that need to be broken down. One of the big struggles is how do you take a research paper and break this down into bite-sized pieces and give yourself kind of personal deadlines, even if the teacher doesn't give you those deadlines. They're doing a speech class with IEW in their homeschool co-op, and that has a lot of homework pieces where they're memorizing different pieces of work or creating their own speeches. And again, breaking that down into bite-sized pieces to make sure you're not missing anything has definitely had its challenges. We're working through some different creative ways to help them with this process, and I hope to share more about that soon, so subscribe so you don't miss out on that. But I just wanted to be honest with you guys. That's definitely a big struggle. There can be a tendency to either go, oh, that's not due today, and put it off, or to say, oh, I just want to get everything done right now, and then you forget about everything else that's going on in the different classes. So it's all about prioritizing, working a little bit at a time, and that's just a good thing to learn now instead of having to learn it later when the stakes are a lot higher. Overall, the school year has gone fairly smoothly. We had a very strong start in August and the beginning of September. End of September, beginning of October, it's been a little rough. We got a sickness that has just been kind of cyclical, and it just kind of keeps hitting our family. We can't quite get over it. So that's been not so fun. On a fun note, Wendy did have her baby, and so we had her kids in our home and was homeschooling 10 kids at one time for a couple of days. So it's definitely had ups and downs, celebrations, and some sadness with sickness. My daughter's medical stuff is kind of ramping up a little bit, and we are starting to do some more testing and hospitalizations and things. So I know that this next quarter is usually one of our worst quarters as far as the amount of productivity that we get done. But knowing that we had a solid first quarter gives me a lot of encouragement. And I know in the second quarter, regardless how far we get in our goals for school, we will be able to learn a lot, and we will hopefully be able to show God's grace through it all. If you guys want to know more about what we're utilizing in our home this year, be sure to check out these videos here.